Welcome back. Today we explore one of the most famous Zen stories ever told, the sound of one hand. On the surface, it feels like a riddle, but as we journey deeper, we'll discover how this teaching reveals the heart of Zen and how it can shift the way we see life, silence, and ourselves. The story begins centuries ago in Japan with Master Hakuin Eikaku. Hakuin was one of the great Zen teachers of the 18th century, known for reviving Zen practice and creating powerful koans, paradoxical riddles designed to awaken insight. Among these, one became legendary. A monk once asked Hakuin, "Master, what is the sound of one hand clapping?" The monk was stunned. He had heard the familiar sound of two hands clapping, sharp, clear, unmistakable. But how could one hand make a sound? Was it silence? Was it air moving? Was it some hidden trick? He tried everything. He waved his hand in the wind, slapped it against walls, pressed it against his leg. Nothing satisfied him. The monk returned to Master Hakuin, confessing, "I cannot find the answer." Hakuin simply told him, "Good, keep searching." Days turned into weeks, and weeks into months. The monk carried this question like a stone in his heart. It interrupted his meals. It echoed through his meditation. It haunted his dreams. And then, one day, in a moment of stillness, the realization came. The sound of one hand was not something to be grasped with logic. It was not an answer for the ears. It was a mirror for the mind itself. This is the essence of a Zen koan. It is not meant to be solved in the way we solve a math problem. It is meant to break the grip of the thinking mind, to push us beyond concepts, and to awaken us to the direct experience of reality. When we hear the question, "What is the sound of one hand clapping?" our minds rush to solve it. That is natural. We want answers. We want closure. But Zen invites us to pause, to live in the question itself. Think about your own life. How often do we demand clear answers? What career path should I take? Why did this happen to me? What will the future hold? And yet, life rarely gives us straight solutions. Life often gives us mysteries. And just like the monk with his koan, our task is not to force an answer, but to let the question work on us. Master Hakuin's koan is also about perception. We assume that sound exists only when two objects collide, when vibration reaches the ear. But Zen asks, who is hearing? What is the source of perception itself? If there is no listener, is there sound? If there is only one hand, what does clapping even mean? The koan turns our attention back to awareness itself, the mind behind all perception. Zen stories like this are timeless because they challenge us to sit with what feels impossible. They remind us that silence itself is not empty. Silence is alive. The sound of one hand is the sound of presence, the sound of being awake to this very moment. Consider how we live in a noisy world. Every day, we are surrounded by the sound of countless hands clapping, notifications, voices, opinions, arguments. Our attention is constantly pulled in different directions. Yet, when we sit quietly and focus on one breath, one hand, one heartbeat, we discover another kind of sound, a silence that speaks louder than all the noise. Hakuin's teaching goes deeper still. The sound of one hand clapping is not just silence. It is also pointing to non-duality. Normally, we think in pairs, light and dark, good and bad, self and other, two hands coming together. But Zen shows us that reality is not always built on opposites. Sometimes the truth lies beyond duality, One hand is complete in itself. Awareness is whole without needing another. This teaching can transform how we approach relationships. We often feel incomplete until someone else validates us, until the world applauds us with two hands. But Zen reminds us that one hand already has sound. You are already whole. You are already complete. Imagine living with that realization. Imagine waking up and knowing that even in silence, even in solitude, you are full, you are enough. That is the gift hidden inside the koan. Master Hakuin once said that koans are like a hot iron ball stuck in the throat. You cannot swallow it. You cannot spit it out. You are forced to wrestle with it until something breaks open inside. This breaking open is Satori, a sudden glimpse of enlightenment. The monk who struggled with the sound of one hand eventually realized that the point was not to produce a sound, but to awaken to awareness itself. And in that awakening, the koan dissolved, like mist under the sun. For us, the story is not just ancient wisdom, it is a living practice. The next time you sit in silence, ask yourself, what is the sound of one hand? Don't try to solve it. Don't analyze. Just let the question echo in your heart. Feel the tension between wanting to know and learning to rest in not knowing. In that space, something subtle happens. The mind softens, the heart opens, and suddenly you may hear a sound that is not heard with the ears, but with presence itself. Zen invites us to live in that mystery, to embrace questions that have no answers, to allow silence to teach us more than words ever could, and to realize that what we seek has always been here in the sound of one hand. Take a moment now. Hold out your hand in front of you. Imagine clapping. Feel the emptiness, the air, the space. The sound of one hand is the sound of life as it is, silent, whole, and awake. So, the next time you hear the question, smile. Don't rush to answer. Just let it be. May you carry this question into your daily life, not as a puzzle to solve, but as a doorway to presence, silence, and peace.